Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Rate the Transfer Rumour show. Yes, that's right. This is the show that rates the transfer rumour. Delighted to welcome Sean back on. Sean, Jesus Christ, a few months ago you were referred as
Yeah.
recently
Uh-huh.
Johnny Depp.
It's an ever evolving thing. Very curious actually. I think actually I've got a great story about this. I was in Tokyo in a nightclub in Tokyo and this Japanese girl tapped me on the shoulder and went off and got her friend. I was kind of wondering, okay, what's this about? She came back to me then and told me to wait. Didn't have any English clearly, and then put into her phone and showed me a picture of Jesus. So it's an international thing.
Brilliant. This is definitely
Yeah.
gaining traction. The Johnny Depp thing
Mm.
might as well. I have to say, I'm slightly jealous by that. I wouldn't mind, if anyone wants to say I look like Johnny Depp,
Mm.
I'd appreciate it greatly. I
Yeah.
don't think that's coming, Sean. But
Yeah.
on to the show anyway. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to Sean Judge, who's a massive Dundalk fan. He asked me to give him a shout out, so here's his shout out. And he's a great watcher of the channel. So top man, Sean. And that lends us on brilliantly into this because the first one is linked with Dundalk, and it's also a Sean, not Sean Judge though, Sean Brennan of UCD. Now Sean was at UCD a couple of years ago, moved to Drogheda. It didn't quite work out with Drogheda for some reason. Went back
Mm.
to UCD, has been superb in the first division this season. Diminutive midfielder, quite creative, good on the ball. Dundalk obviously today actually got their first division license as well. So you get the feeling now that we're going to see a lot more happen with them in terms of players, maybe ins. There's a few that have left, etc., etc. But Sean Brennan is a player that I actually like, to be fair, and could be an interesting addition at Dundalk. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I think he could probably, if he wanted to, even make a stab at one of the lower ranked Premier Division teams. I think he's been very, very good for UCD. He had to be a massive addition to Dundalk's ranks. They are looking to replace midfielder with Jad Hakiki going to Sligo, so there's a gap there to be filled. If they were to make this kind of sign, it'd be a big statement. It'd be a long way towards actually going up on the first try. So yeah, it is the first I'm hearing of it. So that goes into it, but it is. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, of course, and it will be a very good move.
What would you give this one out of 10?
Because I'm going to say seven because even though I haven't heard much about it, it's a really, really good fit. It's a really strong sign, and so yeah, there's that to counter as well.
Interesting to see what happens. So Sean Brent to Dundalk, 7 out of 10. The next one is actually another Dundalk link, and this might catch a lot of people off their toes and by surprise. But Richie Towell to Dundalk, back to Dundalk. Now, obviously at Shamrock Rovers, he's available. Earlier in the window, a lot of people are linking him to St. Pat's. I was never convinced by that personally, and if you look at the players Pats have now, I don't think there's space for him, if I'm honest with you. Like Romel Palmer plays in his position, Brandon Kavanagh plays in his position. Both players obviously are signed up at Pats. I don't think there's room there. Little talk of Shells as well, which I wasn't sure of. Could he go back to Dundalk? Now, of course, if he went back to Dundalk, he wouldn't be on anywhere near the money he's on at Shamrock Rovers. But my feeling is potentially, are there many Premier Division teams, or any realistically, going for Towell? I also heard a little whisper that he's thinking of doing his coaching badges, and there was a little kind of that would be tagged on in some kind of deal at Dundalk potentially, maybe a player coach or maybe something down the line in that regard. You know what I mean? Um, how do you see that one, Richie Towell to Dundalk?
I think about last season when Sean Maguire and Rory Keating, I should say, went back to Cork City. You know, took a bit of a pay cut to go back there. Particularly Sean Maguire, I thought was very interesting. But you know that's kind of a similar move to what we're looking at here. But I don't think it's likely just because of the financial constraints. I mean, if the problems are true that it's more of an attitude thing because he definitely has the ability, Richie Towell. If Dundalk did sign him, I would say again like Sean Brennan, it'd be massive. Like there's very few teams in the first division would be able to handle him in midfield. So yeah, I just don't know where that's gonna come from. Maybe a loan deal could be worked out or something. I don't know. Bradley has said that Powell is not going to play for the club again, so it looks like if he does leave, it's going to be a permanent exit.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just say throw it
I'm
in there.
yeah.
Actually, throw it in there. If hypothetically, let's say
Mm,
Premier Division teams are put off by him. What exactly do you think is putting them off the player, do you think?
He's a very high risk, I think.
Mm.
As I said before, he's probably gonna. I mean, I don't know what Rovers are paying him, but they're presumably paying him quite a bit because he came back from England. He was still a hot commodity at that stage. He had a lot to offer, and he's is he going to take a massive pick up? He'll obviously have to take a bit, but
Mm.
how much is he going to take? How much resources is he going to have to put into him? And with what's happened at Rovers, it's always a red flag when that kind of thing happens.
Mm.
That so it's a huge risk. You would really want to like have your homework done and know that it's gonna and have a good structure around him that's going to be a home run. And that kind of thing very rarely happens in the League of Ireland. So that's why I think a Premier Division team that's, looking to stay up or is maybe limited in what they could do financially, they're going to look at that and they're going to think, it's a bit too much of a risk.
Interesting stuff. How do you see Richie Towell to Dundalk then out of 10?
I'm going to give it about a 2 out of 10, I think.
2 out of 10. Right, done deal's definitely happening. Richie Towell to
Yeah.
Dundalk. 2 out of 10 says Sean on that one. This one is
Yeah.
Luke Turner, who only signed for Pats last season from Cliftonville, being linked with a move down south to Cork City, who obviously are new to the Premier Division. Have made a couple of signings recently as well. A left back, Cusho, who we won't know much about until we actually see him play. He could be the best left back in the league, Sean, or he could be the worst. It's very difficult to judge them type of players. Have recently added Alex Nolan from the same club,
Mm.
St. Patrick's Athletic as well. And Turner, his minutes are probably going to be limited at Pats with Gravosti and Joe Redmond there. And I won't mention the other thing I was going to mention because it's actually a rumour later on, but you'll know what I mean when I say it. So,
Yeah. I think I know
yeah,
what it is already, actually.
you probably do, yeah. But
Yeah.
left-footed centre back, let's say, and
Mm.
if that happens, Turner, it's hard to see him get many games at Pat. So move to Cork City. How are you seeing that one?
Kind of neutral. Clancy does seem to be targeting a lot of Pats or ex-Pats players. Another one I've heard is I think we've talked about this on the show before. Shane Griffin,
Mm.
who was ex St. Pat's as well, and Matty Smith, who was also ex St. Pat's. Players who I think have all played under Clancy. I don't know about Turner, but I know the other ones have.
Turner hasn't, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Uh, I think it's a decent move, and I have heard a bit about this already. I have heard a few rumblings on social media, so it wouldn't be unprecedented. Yeah, again, I think this is kind of the sign that Cork kind of want to make. It remains to be seen. It is a little bit. There's a little bit of unpredictability about how adequate he's going to be for that role because every team you think is going to get stronger in the Premier Division than they were last year. But I think at the moment, this is a decent move. If your objective is to stay up, Luke Turner certainly wouldn't be a bad signing. He's a known quantity in the league. You kind of know what he's about. It's not a huge risk. So yeah, I think it'll be an okay signing. Yeah.
Out of 10?
Yeah, I'm gonna a little bit better than neutral. I'd say. I'd say about 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, Luke Turner to
Yeah.
Cork City. Now, we'll get on to the next one that you're probably expecting now because of that. Sean Hoare to St. Patrick's Athletic. This link has been going on for a couple of months, to be honest, but the link
Yeah.
has got stronger in recent days, it has to be said. And it's an interesting one from my point of view because Sean obviously isn't guaranteed by any means a place in the team of Shamrock Rovers, particularly with Lee Grace. They're both left-footed centre backs, aren't they? And Lee Grace is, probably the better player, if we're honest about. Now, if you join
Yeah.
St. Pat's, there's an argument to make he doesn't necessarily walk into the team either because it's hard to break up that Redmond Gravosti partnership. So that's an interesting one there. Would he get more games at Pats than he would at Rovers? Maybe. Notably, he hasn't featured, hasn't he? Not at all in Rovers' recent European games, which tells you there might be something going on there as well. Experienced players, we all know. He's won titles with Dundalk. He played with Pats before, of course, as well. Back when he was younger, and he won.
He has won the
obviously-
league with Pats, I think.
Yeah,
hasn't
he has actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he won the league obviously with Shamrock Rovers. So there's a little bit of a Sean Gannon scenario here with
Yeah.
him, and when you look at him, and look, he would bring a lot of experience to probably a young enough Pat side. But how would you see that one?
Very interesting for the reasons you've mentioned. I mean, I think it makes sense for him to leave Rovers at this stage because he's been pretty much absent. He's not getting in ahead of a lot of he's not getting in a lot of the centre halves they have, Lopez and Grace and Cleary and everyone else that they have there. And yeah, I think the curious thing is, as you've mentioned, where does he fit into that Pats team? I mean, Pats are already looking to offload Connor Keeley by all accounts because there's simply not enough space in there for the team in there for him in the team. And now Sean Hoare is probably a better player, more experienced. He's won these league titles. He's played in Europe. He'd be an upgrade. Uh, it is a lot though. I mean, you're probably going to have to pay a lot to
I
get him
think
on
he's out of
board.
contract though. I think he's out of contract, Sean.
But what is he gonna want in terms of wages and stuff like that? Like he's probably gonna rightly want a good amount of money.
My
And if
question
he's
is, so I
not,
suppose, though, why would he want to leave, say, Shamrock Rovers to be in a similar situation potentially at St. Pat's? Maybe he fancies himself to get in the team and maybe just wants a new challenge. But you do feel with Redmond and Gravasti as a partnership that would take an awful lot for someone to come in and break that up, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
it would absolutely. I mean, I guess one thing I could point to is that he has previous experience working with Stephen Kenny,
Yeah.
and they're putting together a really good team there. I mean, at a very early stages, very early stages this off season. I mean, a lot of people are making Pats early favourites for the league, so he could maybe he's trying to get a league winners medal for himself. This is a real. I mean, if I have to give this a rating out of 10, this is a real coin flip. It could go either way, so I'm going to say a 5 out of 10. If it does happen, it's certainly a good move, but it's a good move for Pats as a team. I don't know how I judge it for Sean Hoare personally.
Yeah, that's a very good point to that one. Yeah, so 5 out of 10, Sean Hoare, Shamrock Rovers, St. Patrick's Day. Then the final two are linked to Derry City, and no surprise with Tiernan Lynch, the new boss coming in, that they've been linked with players from Northern Ireland, basically. But interesting players. I'll start off with Gavin Whyte, Northern Irish international. He's had 30 caps for Northern Ireland, 5 goals, predominantly a right winger. You'd argue that Derry City maybe are looking to upgrade there. Daniel Kelly will probably leave the club. The question is where he go. Where is he going to go? McMullen is a good hard worker. I think he lacks a bit of end product, if I'm honest about it. So maybe they're looking for something there to improve the ranks. Now, Gavin White's available in the free transfer, having left Portsmouth as well. But only 28 as well, Sean. I think if they got him, it'd be some coup, wouldn't it?
Oh, would yeah, absolutely. I've been reading articles. I think it was in the Bell Tell. They said basically that he was missing things to do with it, his personal life back home. So he wanted to come back. So he's definitely going to come back. He's leaving England. He's leaving Portsmouth. The question now is what club he goes to. I think Linfield are in for him. I think Larne have shown some interest as well,
You
and Derry,
surely
of
feel
course.
that yeah, sorry, you surely feel that if Derry were seriously interested in him, that they'd have enough to beat Linfield and Larne for a signature. Financially,
Yeah, that's why I think this is a really likely move. I mean, I think as well as that, you'll be playing against better opposition consistently. We saw in the game between Rovers and Larne, the League of Ireland is that bit ahead of the Irish Premiership. So I think if he wants to offer that challenge to himself, I mean, realistically, I don't know, maybe he wants to live in Belfast. He can still live in Belfast and play for Derry. It's not that far. So, there'd be no disruptions to his personal life, in that sense. So it's a really, really sensible move, and it would be a huge sign, as you said, absolutely massive signing, for Derry, who are a bit down, down on their luck at the moment. Um, it would be a statement signing for the new manager as well, so it makes sense from a lot of angles. I am going to give this one the second I've ever given a 10 out of 10.
ooh, 10 out of 10.
Mm.
Gavin White to Derry City. Yeah, it's one actually I'd like to see happen because it'd be an interesting move, I think. Now, finally, is a player for former Northern Ireland. Well, he's a Northern Ireland international. He's 33 now. He probably is a former Northern Ireland international. Shane Ferguson. This fella is from Derry, and he's played over 50. I think it's 57 caps here. I'll get it right here. 57 caps, yeah, for Northern Ireland, and a player that can play left back and left midfield. Now, no doubt he won't be taking Duffy's place. But again, another interesting player. He's played for the likes of Newcastle, of course, as we know, 23 times for Newcastle in his career. Was on loan with Rangers, incidentally, never played for them. A lot of games for Millwall, Rotherham as well. And he's now a free agent, so a lot of experience in the English leagues, and has played for a big, big club like Newcastle. I know he's 33, but at the same time, that could be an interesting sign. And again, as I said, he's a Derry man, so that could be something that could be interesting too. How do you see that one?
First I've heard of it, but really, again, it will be of the same caliber as the Gavin White signing.
Yeah.
Uh, they that seemed to be the direction Derry were going in with some of their signings last season, like Andre Wisdom, for
Mm.
instance. Trying to get that little bit of experience and organisation in at the back.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of there's a bit of a clear out going on as well. I mean, Kieran Cole is gone. Daniel Kelly's probably going to leave. Um,
Still question marks
Brian
over Mar and Adam O'Reilly at the
Question,
moment.
yeah, I was going to say that it's kind of become a bit more. It looked like certainly they were going to leave at the end of the season. It's a bit more muddy now. It doesn't look like they're going to certainly leave, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. There was even rumblings that Pat Hooban was going to be bought out of his contract by another team. That doesn't look likely now, but it shows that there's a lot of movement. No one's place is safe. Tiernan Lynch would want to make this Derry City team his own, and it's probably for the best. If you look at there's probably a little bit of a culture of I don't know, I don't know what you'd call it. I don't want to say choking, but like that's kind
They've
of
had the same squad, I think, for the last 3 years, and I actually think they do need a bit of a rebuild. I think that's the point with Derry City. Not the way we talk about how you don't like your squads in Ireland changing every year, and if you look at it,
yeah,
a lot of squads aren't changing that much, which is
yeah,
brilliant to see. But Derry have had the same squad
mm,
in this situation for the last 3 or 4 years,
yeah,
so they actually do need change. I think that's the
yeah.
point, isn't it?
It's stagnation,
Yeah.
and I mean, like it's been getting consistently worse. Like this is probably the worst season Derry have had
Mm.
this decade. I mean, you talk about. I mean, at least other seasons. You go back last season, they had the run in Europe, and season before that they won the cup. This season they had nothing, lost the cup. They're not even in Europe. So a rebuild would be absolutely necessary, and this would be a huge, huge signing. Derry certainly have the muscle to pull it off. The only question, I guess, remains whether Shane Ferguson himself is interested, and considering he's from Derry, he's 33. Yeah, maybe it's an end of career move. Settle
Mhm.
down at home and get paid a good, decent bit to play a high standard of football, and potentially, if Derry put together a good enough team, win a league.
Yeah, potentially. How you seen that one out of 10?
Just because I haven't heard that much about it, I have to knock a few points off, but I'm still going to say a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. So you saved the best two for last, Sean. Fair play to you. Guys at home, let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a few ratings out of 10. And would you like to see these players at your club? Thanks very much, Sean.
Cheers, Keith.